So Susu's theory proven strong once again. Arsenal making light work of the smaller opposition. 4-1, big thrashing for them. But just quick thoughts on the Vieira bits before we even get into this game. No win in all of 2023. Apparently he was on his way to the training ground when he received this call that it didn't really matter and that training was going to be taken over from him by somebody else. He had been fired.
Well, this defeat proves my point that it was a hasty decision, because you look at the games they've lost and drawn this year. I know they've not played, they've played other teams. They played City, they've played who, they've played that. Every game they've lost has been by 1 goal. And then there've been a few draws. So if you think about it, this is the first, even though they've not won since December 31st of last year, this is the first defeat that they've been defeated by more than 1 goal.
Yeah.
And it's right after you sack Vieira. So clearly, I don't know, maybe if Vieira was here and they lost like this, maybe fine. But the point is, I don't think things were as bad as they made out. Because I think when you were looking at some of the games they played, there may be 1 or 2 they could have won or should have won. But if you look at the teams they were playing, most of them were above them on the table. They weren't playing a lot of teams that were below them. They weren't playing a lot of teams around them, like in that relegation fight that they should have been beaten. So for me, the easy games were coming. If maybe after 3 or 4 easy games, he's still not able to get the win, you pull the trigger. But as it stands, you've pulled the trigger just before you are about to get into an easy patch. You're now going to bring another coach who's now going to figure things out. And your defense, which was previously strong, doesn't look as strong. Yeah. I don't know what's going to happen in the next few games. If they survive, it will be a good decision. Because fair enough, you don't care if you are 17th or 12th if you are Crystal Palace, really. You just care you are still in the division. So if they survive, it will be justified.
Do they have a right to feel entitled to Premier League football based on investments made, looking at what their rivals are doing?
I mean, if you've been in the Premier League for 9 years, you assume that you'll be in it for the 10th year. It's just how it is. They've been in the league so long, they consider themselves a Premier League team. This is not a situation where they've been here 2-3 years. They are thinking to yourself that we are still trying to establish us. They've established themselves. They've never been a strong top half team, but they are established. They keep surviving. So they are within their rights to think, if they feel they're being dragged into a relegation fight, that they should change so that they can stay in the league. That may be their thinking. But for me, I think it was a hasty decision. And the new manager settling in a period where they should be playing their easier games. And look, I read an article on The Athletic about how usually when you sack a manager at this time of the year, you are the most you gain is 1 place. That's it, 1 place. That's if you are lucky. More often than not, the place doesn't change. Because by this time, the table is set. In this case, with the relegation battle the way it is, things could, be a bit more chaotic. You could, because like you said, there's 4 points between the bottom and Crystal Palace in 12th. So really, there's not much room. Anything can happen, because in 2 weeks, you'll be talking about Crystal Palace being last very easily.
Very possible.
Not last, but in the relegation zone. But I still think that Vieira and the team, there was some synergy there. There was some cohesion. I feel like it was a hasty decision. But hopefully they stay in the league. But look, they need a lot of... there's a serious rebuild going on, because a lot of players are out of contract. A lot of players are older. I still don't think Vieira has gotten a lot of new players to build, because he's trying to build a new identity with the same tools. The main difference is they have Anderson and Gehi, who are ball-playing centre-backs. That's the only major difference for me.
And Anderson is on loan, actually. He's not even. He doesn't even belong to them.
Yeah, exactly. So look, it's not the most
conducive environment to work in. Just thoughts on Arsenal. They didn't mind. It was a bounce-back performance for them. Bukayo Saka having quite the season.
Yeah, that's another test passed by the Gunners, because look at the way
8 points now between them and City, who are in car parks.
And look, I think we have to give the title to them. Look.
Already?
Already, yeah, because I think what would be very key is that clash against
Manchester City.
Yeah, and that's where it's a big test for them to see if they can go past Manchester City. But it will be a difficult one. On this game, look, they play very good football. And I always say that if you have your key men, your quality players stepping up, so the likes of Martinelli, the likes of Saka, Thomas Partey himself was decent. If they're able to step up each and every match week, you're always going to have yourself with the most points. That's the 3 points. And that's what Mikel Arteta did. It was a London derby. Palace without Patrick Vieira sacking them.
Of course, won 9 London derbies.
Yeah, you expect them to.
You mean they discipline everybody in their city?
Yeah.
They own the city.
London is not just red. The soil is red. The water is red. The air is red. Well, the sky is red.
Yeah. This is you expect them to perform. I mean, Crystal Palace to put up a good shift, but because of a new manager bounced in, but it didn't happen for them. I don't know what was running to me. I think probably the pressure to play at the Emirates also got to them, and Arsenal will always thrive on their fans performing for them. So I think it was a very good win for Mikel Arteta's side. Mm-hmm. And you look at the display, I had a little bit of a concern with William Saliba not starting. But I think
he's injured. Yeah. He's back, and apparently he'll be out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, Rob Holding came in to fit in very, very decent, and I think that it's a very good one. You know, I've already had concerns about Arsenal's squad depth.
They bought a Polish centre-back from...
Kira.
Yeah,
but you see, he is left-footed. And you know, managers, they don't like to play 2 left-footed centre-backs. It's not something
managers like. So you're having Gabriel and him.
So, like, if it's anything, you would expect it to be Gabriel and Ben White. And maybe if Tomiyasu is fit, he will play a right back. And they'll go back to last season's defense, then Zinchenko. But Tomiyasu is also injured. So I think that's why he stuck with White at right back and went with Holding.
You're just making a point on Holding. Just finish up.
Yeah. I think he stepped in very, very good. You know, the thing about him is that Holding can give you a very good 80, 90 minutes, and just one mistake just covers all his done in one game. But I think in this game against Crystal Palace, he was very decent. Yeah. And that's a very good one for them. For me, I'm excited that they got kicked out of the Europa League, because now you get to concentrate. You get to concentrate on the Premier League. You can't have your team playing so many competitions. And if you look at Mikel Arteta, clearly you can tell that it's just one thing on his mind, to win the Premier League. And I think that it was very good for the Gunners. So a good shift from Crystal Palace, from the Gunners to get that 4 goals against Crystal Palace. It's a very good win for them.
Let's get to the Italian Serie A, where Napoli are putting the finishing touches on what will be a Serie A winning season. They were up against Torino, blistering performance from them. Victor Osimhen doing his thing once again. Big ups to the Nigerian brothers out there. Nigeria have such a strong strike force out there. It's kind of scary.
I'd actually take their 4th best striker for the Black Stars.
Imagine.
Whoever is their 4th best striker, I'll take him when I look at their options.
Yeah.
Our strikers...
Osimhen, Kelechi, Terem Murphy. I think they have Taiwo Awoniyi. Yeah.
There's a few. Yeah. And Awoniyi is not even in the squad.
Interesting.
So
imagine Nigeria doing their thing out there. We'll take